theater of Ugandan politics, few actors understand the value of a well-timed line quite like Norbert Mao, just Minister and Democratic Party President. A man who wields rhetoric like a fencer's foil now finds himself center stage in a drama that is part courtroom procedural, part politics farce. The plot, such as it is, involves a petition, a persistent opponent, a leak, and a quote so perfectly crafted it deserves its own Wikipedia entry. First, the bare bones. Tony Kitara, the NRM's man for Laropa division, lost to Mao by a margin that can only be described as comprehensive, 7,359 votes to 2,867. Unwilling to swallow the arithmetic, Kitara filed a petition on April the 1st alleging widespread irregularities. So far, so standard election petitions are as much part of Uganda's democratic furniture as the indelible ink that never quit seems indelible. But then the saga of service began and things get interesting. Kitara and his legal team, led by Caleb Alaga, embarked on what can only be described as a quest to hand Mao a piece of paper. According to an affidavit, there are times where a masterclass in modern futility, phone calls that rang into the void, WhatsApp messages that earned only the cold grey ticks of indifference, and a visit to Mao's ministry office that found nothing but a firmly shut door. The image is almost poetic. The petitioner, petition in hand, and standing outside the temple of justice itself, unable to find the man who runs it. Then came the leak. Somehow, the petition found its way online before it found its way to Mao. And this is where the story shifts from legal drama to a bar of wits. Confronted with documents he claimed never to have received, Mao didn't issue a loyally denial, a bland press release. Instead, he dropped a line of pure and diluted political theater. I don't fight dogs, I fight their honors. Full stop. The statement was a grenade thrown into the public square, who everyone began to whisper, is the honor, is Kitara merely a proxy, a legal horn unleashed by a bigger master? The rumor mill, which in Kampala operates with the inefficiency of a Swiss watch, immediately fingered the Speaker of Parliament, and it among a suggestion Kitara has since denied. The beauty of Mao's quip is its deniability. It accuses without accusing, points without naming. It is, in short, vintage Mao.
But more interestingly, is the candidate of the NRM, who was number 3. I think the fellow simply is not fighting because he has a cause. Like I said, there is someone else behind the case. He's on a remote control.
As the whispers of a version grew louder, Mao stepped before the press, but most indignation radiating from him, his defense was crisp. How can a man dodge something he has never received? His office, he insisted, is a public building. His phone, a public number. He is not hiding in a bunker. He is the Minister of Justice, for heaven's sake. Hear him tell it. The idea of him ducking a process server is as absurd as a fish dodging a bicycle.
Up to now, I'm not yet served. I've only heard about the case also in the media. But this case is not about the law. This case is about politics. A Minister of Justice who cannot be found. This is really interesting. He hasn't come to my home. He hasn't come to the Ministry of Justice. He never came to Chankwanzi. He never came to DP headquarters. I am here now. At least he should be waiting in the compound. I want to announce the creation of a Norbert Mao Legal Defense Fund, and I'm appealing for support to fight this case, because these are people who think they can bribe anybody, including judges.
The court, however, deal in facts, not metaphors, with the statutory 3-day window for service long since slammed shut by the Easter holidays. Kitara's team went back the High Court in Gulu, tails between their legs, but hope still intact. On April the 20th, Justice Philly would only handed them a lifeline, more time, and permission to submount the old-fashioned way. Through the pages of the Daily Monitor newspaper, it's a poetic twist. The minister who dismissed his opponent as a dog must now be brought to heel by newsprint. The petition pinned to a court notice board like an overdue library notice.
So this thing he was saying, his home is known, his office is known, he's a whole minister. You know, no one disputes that. But the law is strict. It requires that he be served personally. I can confirm that Mao has been served, an electoral commission has equally been served, and both respondents have filed in their reply or answer to the petition in the High Court registry at Gulu.
The entire saga forces an uncomfortable question into the light, one that Kitara and his team would rather not entertain. If you are already struggling, is mightily simply to start the fight. What chance do you stand of winning it? Serving a petition is the legal equivalent of trying your solaces before a marathon. If that basic step requires an emergency court application and a newspaper advert, the road ahead looks less like a legal challenge and more like a pilgrimage. A court victory requires evidence, argument, and momentum. Commodities that seem in conspicuously short supply when you can't even get through the front page. Kitara may have won himself time, but Ma already won the first round of public perception, wielding nothing more lethal than a smile, a shrug, and line borrowed from the street. The real legal brawl hasn't even begun, and already it's magnificent.